My name is Barry. I'm going to share a bit of my story, kind of where I came from. And my story starts, growing up in a good family with good parents. My mom and dad, they loved me and my younger sister very much. I grew up in a pretty wealthy family. We had everything we needed or wanted. In that environment, it was easy to thrive and it was easy to be happy and honestly spoiled. And you can take a lot of that stuff for granted. When I was 9, though, my parents they walked into my bedroom and they told me that they couldn't make it work, that they were going to divorce. And as a kid, this just totally blows up your world. It blows up the way that you think, you feel, you experience, the way you look at yourself and everything around you. And it's just a phenomenally devastating experience. And even being just 9 years old, this completely shut me down. And the cycle of events and the emotions and the hate and bitterness that starts to take a hold inside you and just grow and feed off your soul, it really can mess you up. When I was 12 is when my mom met my stepdad, and I had so much hope that this was going to be a change and things were going to turn around and the life would start to get better. And they got married, and a week after they got married, my stepdad completely changed, turned into a totally different person, and abuse became the norm. And so I remember nights waking up to screaming in other rooms of the house, or nights where I get beat up or thrown down the stairs or pushed into a wall. I remember nights aching to end my life and not wanting to be around anymore. And now when I was 14, since I didn't know how to deal with this pain that was inside me, I turned to alcohol and the party scene and trying to find meaning and hope and rest and peace in things that are so temporary and so fleeting. And trying to find peace in the bottom of a bottle is the worst place you could look. And so I remember nights where just the alcohol would bring this anger and this rage out of me, and bring violence out of me, and more, I was becoming just like my stepdad. When I was 15, I found myself in the middle of a fight between my mom and my stepdad, and he was raising his fist to hit my mom. And when I saw that, I stepped in between to defend her. And my stepdad looked at me with these eyes just filled with rage and hatred, and he said, "Barry, I'm going to kill you." And I remember this moment so clearly because I remember exactly how I felt when he said those words. And I felt nothing. I felt no fear, no emotion. And just trying to figure out why I felt like that, and it literally hit me so hard that I realized I didn't care. I wasn't afraid because I didn't care if I woke up the next day, that I was ready to die, that I was fine with that I didn't feel like I had anything worth living for, that I was bringing anything good to the table. I had no value, no purpose. I'm just this messed up, broken kid who's filled with all these terrible things. And so that night I ran away from home. And I ran to this big field, and I found myself screaming at the sky and screaming at a God that I didn't believe in. I was a Christian when I was a kid, and I walked away from it after my parents' divorce because I just couldn't possibly believe that there was a good, kind, loving God who would let me go through everything that I went through. Blamed God for a lot of things that people did. But in this moment, at 15, screaming at the sky, I was desperate for any hope, any reason to go on, and asked God this question: give me one reason to care about waking up tomorrow. It's my most direct challenge, and I fully expected no answer and no response, and I was so wrong. It was in this moment that I first experienced God, first experienced the presence of God and the reality that God is, and found myself surrounded by Him, and I heard Him tell me the word, "Son, I love you." And literally in a moment, my entire world was turned upside down and changed. It's like the scales fall off your eyes, the blindfold comes off, and all of a sudden you see the world completely differently. A whole reality that is there, that is more real than anything I'd ever experienced before, became, the true reality became the reality to my eyes. And this blanket that was covering truth, and this blanket that was these cloths sewed together of hatred and bitterness and pain and deceit and disgust and shame and guilt and all these things, all of a sudden it was wiped away and replaced with the reality there's a God that loves us and cares about us and has a plan for us and can do great things through us. The whole world becomes different when you realize that there's a God who loves you enough that he says you're worth dying for, and then proves it on the cross. So I was deeply moved by that reality, and it completely changed my life. It's funny, I asked God for a reason to wake up, and he's given me one every day since. In beautiful and incredible and surprising ways. I've gone through harder things in my life since becoming a Christian. The biggest challenges in my life have been since, and no one would be shocked if they're still to come. But I am able to face them fearlessly because I know I'm not alone going through them. I know that there's a purpose to even the hard things. I know that there is a hope that supersedes my circumstances, that is above the moment. That what we experience in this time, that we are alive on earth, it's just temporary. It's a fleeting moment. It's a breeze passing through a field, and there's so much more on the other side of this life that gives me so much reason to have hope and joy. And that hope and joy is not just for the next life, it's for this one that fills my life.